Hi, friends. So, this is just a little something on this idea that when we are uh, connecting with something that's from another time period, this is sort of the idea of triggers. Our nervous system taps into the data that it has from the past and can tries to see if there's matches from the present. And then it tells us if there's a match, like, I think there might be something dangerous here. Okay, so it's a predictive mechanism. It's not a like divination tool. So when we are let's say we go back to a college reunion, um, and we feel pretty like not ourselves, and we feel, little disassociated. Maybe we have some digestive problems. We are like acting weird, and we're like all of a sudden like self-conscious of things that we haven't been self-conscious of for a long time. It's probably just that your nervous system is like, oh, I see that street sign. I see these people. I see this restaurant that I used to always go to. This is how we act in that. We like run the program of how we acted at college, right? Because your nervous system's like, oh, I've seen this before. I found a match. This is the strategy we use to keep you safe because it worked before, right? You lived through it, you survived it. So you bring your current self and your current strategy of how to take care of yourself and interact with life, and you get to the college town, and then this old program comes online and boots up, and this one's like, what's going on? And they're like kind of competing against each other. And sometimes that like digestive upset or that physical pain, like a lot of people will end up like having back pain, weird back pain, or like weird headaches, or weird foot pain. Who knows? When they're traveling or doing reconnecting with like a older, um, with a somewhere or somebody who represents an older time period in their life, and that dysregulation through the pain, through the digestive upset, through the like lack of appetite or super appetite, or just like feeling weird, can be the nervous system being like, which program do you want me to run? Like these programs don't go together, and like this new program doesn't work in this old environment, or like even like, look, you're running the old program. Like, I'm ashamed of myself for running this old program. These are my old behaviors that I got rid of, right? So, what's happening is the body's just like using this predictive mechanism to say like, oh, here comes this thing, and it matches the present, and this is the strategy to survive it. It doesn't have like an emotional or like a judgment. It's just totally morally neutral. It's like, this is what we did to survive this before. So what we can offer ourselves during that time is just a lot of self-soothing, a lot of like taking care of ourselves like we would someone who's just like been through a really hard thing or is sick or something like that. Just a lot of self-soothing, a lot of like offering gentle foods, like sort of like you would if your kid was feeling off and you'd be like, what can I get you? Do you want me to read you a story? Do you want me to scratch your back? Do you want me to make you some of your favorite Jello? Things like that. And just to say to ourselves, like, I'm traveling, I'm reconnecting with something from my past. It makes sense that these old behaviors are coming up. It makes sense that I feel weird. My nervous system's doing its best, right? Um, a nice story that kind of shows how this works is there was a vet who had like panic attacks and PTSD after being in active duty, and then had therapy and medication support and had like 10 years free from these panic attacks. And then all of a sudden the panic attacks started again. And he was like, what's going on? His therapists were like, let's increase your therapy. Let's, shift your medications. Like, what can we do? They were trying everything, and the panic attacks just kept showing up. And they were like, what is this? And then lo and behold, his wife had bought and started using a soap, that was the same soap that he used when he was in active duty. So his nervous system was just like, hey, this soap is here. Like, there must be bombs and things too. And even though it wasn't conscious, he was having the panic attacks. And that's what a trigger is really. Like a lot of us think that if we just like feel upset, we're triggered, but actually triggering in like a clinical sense is when your body interprets something as being in from a previous time period when there was an actual threat. And so it's like a um, neuroceptive mismatch. It's just like a communication error, sort of. So, again, when we notice these things happening, we're just going to do a lot of self-soothing. We're going to do a lot of taking gentle care, and we're not going to be able to always find out, like, oh, it was the soap, right? Because it's like finding a needle in a haystack. So, what can we do if our body's doing that? We can just be like, okay, it's for some reason, and a lot of us will feel ashamed, like, oh my gosh, I made all this progress. Now I'm not. I'm regressing to old behaviors, da da da. And it can be particularly tricky if we're like working on supporting our nervous system capacity. What can happen as we expand our nervous system capacity, we begin to have more internal safety, internal trust. The body can offer old things that it's been concerned about that it didn't think we could handle before. And then all of a sudden we're like, whoa, this is more than I thought I could handle. And so it's a bit of a tricky moment when it's like we increase capacity and it fills right back up with all the things that the body wants to take a look at. So again, anytime that like we're feeling like we don't have as much capacity, then in these like spiritual overachiever manager moments, we can be like, oh no, I backtracked. But it's like, no, that you increased, and so the challenge increased. It's like when you are a kid and you do the like um, fourth grade math test, and then you like ace it, so they give you the fifth grade math test, and then you're like, I don't know any of it. Did I get bad at math? No. Like as your capacity increased, the challenge increased, and so we're gonna have to, you know, not have to, but we have the opportunity to be like, oh, this makes sense. I've increased my capacity, so my body is trusting me with more. How can I increase my resources? If like I'm, having less capacity, then I want to just increase my resources and decrease whatever stressors are on the table, take as many of those off as possible, and notice the part that's like, oh, you must be doing bad. You must be doing something wrong. You must have regressed. This means something's bad about me. And offer that part the same compassion and self-soothing. I'm so sorry you were taught that. I'm so sorry that you were raised and trained in a paradigm where like you have to always be improving in order to be acceptable. I'm so sorry that the love you received was conditional. That's so painful. I'm here for you. And in that, we grow this again, we increase another level our self-trust and our self acceptance and our ability to be like that unconditional source of support that we really crave from the outside world. Um, okay, so it's just a little bit about the like way that the nervous system interacts with those old cues to try and help keep us safe. Okay, lots of love.